Waiting for guys like in last year's Kevin Knox and Gilgeous-Alexander, PJ Washington, Tyler Hero emerged in 18 and 19. Last year, Emmanuel quickly wasn't a starter. He became the conference's best player. He had Tyrese Maxey and, of course, Ashton Hagans along with him, and big Nick Richards in the middle. So, who will the superstars of this Kentucky team be? They got a bunch of five-star guys: Brandon Boston, Terence Clark, a couple of transfers with some great experience, and we tip it off with the Wildcats controlling the ball. Point guard to start is Devin Askew. He and Brandon Boston, Terence Clark, Olivier Sarr, and Isaiah Jackson. Want to look for something early? How many times Kentucky passes the ball before they get a shot? Working the baseline, laying it up, and missing is Boston.
Yeah, that's a good point, Rabbi, because you go back and grade the Kansas film. Again, Kentucky averaged 2 passes per possession for the most part, and that will not beat a good team.
Nope. Michael DeVoe, one of the upperclassmen, the junior guard, wears number 0. Moses Wright's a senior, number 5, has been off to a flying start. And how they control him and what he does is going to be a big part of this game. A terrible shot gets nothing, and Kentucky will push.
Georgia Tech man-to-man defense. They also have a zone that is a non-traditional zone. They double the basketball at different spots. Important for Kentucky today. Move the ball and move yourself regardless of what Georgia Tech's playing.
Isaiah Jackson to the hole, and he comes up short off the front iron.
Boy, he got there, didn't he? You talk about covering 16, 17 feet with one bounce and quickness. This cat can do it.
Pastor says we need our guards to play well. That's Jose Alvarado, number 10. And, of course, the aforementioned Michael DeVoe. Both teams start out shooting poorly as Askew pushes. He's got Jackson on the baseline, and he turned it over. A sloppy start for both teams. Into the paint, runner too strong, and Kentucky will rebound. DeVoe with a brick. They have gone off the knee of Sarr, and it will be Georgia Tech ball. Jimmy, can we call time, start over again for these teams right now?
Good gracious, but just bad, hard shots, first of all, by Georgia Tech. And Kentucky not able to get a good look yet.
So the ball didn't go off Sarr's leg, but they immediately turn it over on an inbounds pass. Georgia Tech, there's an uncontested layup in the first points of the game for Bubba Parham.
You know, Bubba Parham was a tremendous shooter, a transfer out of VMI. Hasn't quite transferred up to the ACC level yet, but this is a Georgia Tech team, Ravi, that they can score now. That's not their issue. Their issue has been defensively in their first 2 ball games.
Now the turnover, penetration there, that was denied. Brandon Boston tried to force it. Who's playing defense? No one, as that laid in, and it's Georgia Tech 4-0 over Kentucky.
What a take by Moses Wright in transition. You're talking about a guy that's 6'9" and 230 to bring it and twist his body at the rim going full speed. Impressive.
Welcome, everyone, to Georgia Tech, Kentucky, the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Kentucky, a 7-hour bus ride yesterday. They arrive on 3 different buses, and there's been a start to this game, which indicates they really haven't gotten off the bus. They've struggled. The first basket came from Terence Clark after Georgia Tech got the first 4 points. My partner, Jimmy Dykes, is in Arkansas. This is Carl Ravitch here in Connecticut, as we get set to bring you a game between a couple of struggling teams out of the gate. First 3 is launched. That's an air ball. Georgia Tech has been brutal from the field to start this one. And a 3, and 1 drops, and that's the first 3 of the season for Brandon Boston. Take a look at the starting lineup for Kentucky. On the miss, it's Askew, Boston, Clarke, Olivier Sarr, and Isaiah Jackson. Sarr and Jackson, the 2 big fellas, and that's going to be an offensive foul on Boston. Give me a look back on Kentucky last couple of years, Jimmy, and you see the emergence of superstars. Seeing Boston knock down a 3 has got to be a huge relief for not only him, but Calipari and the Cats.
Well, think about it. In their back-to-back losses against Richmond and Kansas, Kentucky 3 out of 31. 3 out of 31 from the three-point line. Those numbers won't beat a bad team, much less a good team. And Boston took a good one in rhythm in transition. And this is a Kentucky team now, defensively and rebounding, they can hang with anybody in the country. At least so far they have.
Moses right through and up, missed, followed his own shot, took the ball away, but they may get him for a foul. And they will. We'll introduce Jimmy Dykes in his new home studio when we come back. Kentucky by 1 over Georgia Tech. Weekend's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Pit Boss Grills. Get the hottest gift in the market this holiday season. Visit pitboss-grills.com. K Jewelers, because we believe that love is unstoppable. And Vault Health. Vault has FDA, EAU authorized at-home COVID-19 testing. It's fast, easy, and painless. Welcome back, everyone. Love is unstoppable, which brings us to Jimmy Dykes and Carl Ravitch. Kentucky leading 5-4. It's been a long, strange trip, my friend. Haven't seen you since last March when the SEC tournament was interrupted by, of course, what has become very well known as COVID-19. Good to see you. You look great. I have no idea what that sign over your left shoulder says, but I'm delighted to be working again with you, buddy.
I remember in 1978, the song by Peaches and Herb, Reunited, and
I do.
It feels. Yeah, that all day long, that's been going through my head in anticipation of being back with you on the air.
Right. We'll leave the singing to Peaches and Herb, though. That's fine. The one-hit wonder that is Jimmy Dykes. Back here, Kentucky 5, Georgia Tech 4. Neither team is shot well. Interior passing, that works well. And what a story Moses Wright has been out of the gate for Georgia Tech. He's been super on the Kentucky side. Here we go again. Same story we've heard ultimately since John Calipari developed sort of a one-and-done system. When do the young guys move from they're confused, they got to learn how to pass, they got to learn how to play, they got to stop being high school players, to that next step, which in recent years we've seen so many guys do?
It's right there, Ravi. What does my group need from me? I mean, I think that's the first step as a freshman that you have to understand. I've got to stop thinking about myself, and that's not natural. We are all wired to be selfish, eyes on us people. And if you're a freshman at a high-level program like Kentucky, for the first time you're being told your good's not good enough. So you have to quickly grasp the concept of what does my group need from me? And that is a real step, a real new level for all young teams.
Saw them, of course, Kentucky lose to Kansas, game they late in the season likely hang on to and win if they're able to get a lead, but we just saw another turnover. Olivier Sarr, one of the transfers into this Kentucky program, guilty of that one, and they have turned the ball over a handful of times early. That basket is not going to count. They call Alvarado with a push-off. Jose Alvarado, the senior.
Ravi, good call. I mean, this is a kid. Alvarado, to me, he's one of those older guards that winning is more important than breathing to him. I mean, this guy really fights and competes. He was kind of undervalued, underrated out of high school. Josh Pastor believed in him. But if you're Kentucky, you have to stay in front of the guy with a white headband today, or he will cause problems.
He will. Michael DeVoe will. Josh Pastner told us yesterday, look, we have got to get our guards to shoot and to play. If we don't, we're in real trouble. With the ball in his hands, Davion Mintz. Brad transfer into the Kentucky program. Boston's got 2 fouls. He goes to the bench. Mintz, a very good shooter. Kentucky moving the ball quickly. They forced it into Sarr, and another turnover for the Wildcats.
Can't keep turning it over. Kentucky at 37 turnovers combined in their last 2 losses, and they're tracking a number today again that's hard to win on the road.
Good matchup here. Wright and backing in Sarr. Jump hook, gets it, and the foul. Moses Wright, who's averaging 25.5 points per game in the first couple, drops in a tough shot, and he's fouled.
Yeah, he's going with Moses Malone numbers. He's averaging right at 23 free throw attempts over the last 2 ball games. So not only is this guy scoring through your chin, he's getting to the free throw line and converting at a good rate. And can Kentucky guard him one-on-one on the block? So far, the answer to that, no.
What a story for Moses Wright. This was a kid that played 1 year of high school basketball. Josh Pastner and his staff have turned him into a force for Georgia Tech, and he has been and maybe their best player on the floor. And so far, some early nightmares for Kentucky. Here, Ted Valentine and the other officials communicating to Moses Wright what he did wrong.
Ravi, Georgia Tech defensively did not show up in their first 2 ball games. They got punched in the nose because of it. And I think it's a lot of it is tied to, you see them scrambling now, they're 1-3-1. Josh Pastner did not have any contact practice prior to their first game. And he was making on his older team, showing up with an edge and a fight and a toughness, and you can't get it if you're not practicing 5-on-5. This week they've gone back to it. It bit him in the butt the first 2 games. He expects his team to be better today.
Mintz was too strong with a 3. Terence Clark buries it. And Kentucky's second 3 of the ball game. They started out terribly in their first 3 games from 3-point range. Basically ranking 294. Terrible help defense, but there from nowhere, the block. And Isaiah Jackson's a headache on the offensive and defensive glass as he picked up his first block today.
Ravi, he is special in terms of a shot blocker. He's unique, he's uncommon, and his ability to erase an automatic 2 is about as good as we have in the college game. And he can go get it with either paw as a shot blocker. His recovery speed and recovery length, extraordinary.
He early stepped into a triple-double against Kansas. You just saw his numbers. And Isaiah Jackson, the freshman out of Pontiac, Michigan, watches the free throw attempt and dropped. Good start for Terence Clark. 12th year for John Calipari as the Kentucky head coach. The only aspect, and it is a huge aspect for Calipari this year that's different than every other year, is COVID-19. The youthful nature of his team, the inability to get on the same page early. Like, we've heard this story before, Jimmy, and generally you get into February and March and they're peaking. You think they can do that again?
Absolutely they can. I mean, the pieces are there, and it takes Cal a while to figure his guys out, and not only who's the guy, but where do I need to put that guy? And it's a work in progress. And the other crazy thing is, how about the 7-hour bus ride for Kentucky yesterday? That's probably never going to happen again for Kentucky. That tells you the odd times that Cal and every college coach in the country is having to work through right now. But I mean, he said himself, I can't remember the last time I had this long of a bus ride to a game. But that's what COVID has done with the budget cuts and the different things. And Cal, as appreciative as anyone, just being able to play the game of basketball right now. He doesn't like the losing. Still very grateful for the opportunity to play the game.
Yeah, 3 separate buses, one for the players, one for the coaches, the other for the staff that goes along with them. Another 3 for Kentucky, too strong. We're going to have a foul underneath. Who's that going to be on? See Lance Ware, he's into the game, 55. Another freshman out of Camden, New Jersey at 6'9", 220. This may be as long a team as he's had in a while. They have 9 of their 12 scholarship players 6'6" or taller.
We've seen the 1-3-1 out of Georgia Tech. We've seen the 2-3. We've seen man-to-man. Keeping Kentucky off balance. That ball not able to get inside the defense in this possession.
Very active defense. Askew, shot clock at 2. He hits a runner, no good off the back iron. Georgia Tech with a run out. And Alvarado high off the window, no good. Followed, and Kentucky's got numbers, 4 on 3. Boy, Askew picked that dribble up, Jimmy. He was in the paint. Tough shot, access denied. Ware with a rebound. He's going to go to the foul line as he gets hit on the way up. Looks like Jordan Usher will pick up the foul.
Ravi, Kentucky is at their best when their guards are going downhill. And Terence Clark is a guy who has he has not proven to be a great layup maker. He has missed shots around the rim, 5 in blue. And that's something that, man, if you can get there, that's one thing. Can you finish the play is another. And Clark has to be much more efficient on those hard drives.
You wonder like where the different minutes would come for Kentucky, given the way that some of the players have played. We see Lance Ware into the game. Dante Allen likely to get some minutes for Kentucky onto the floor. So Mintz is on the floor now. So is Jacob Toppin. And really a new 5 for Coach Calipari here as we head under 12. Toppin, yes, the younger brother of Obi Toppin. Player of the year in college basketball last year. Now a member of the New York Knicks, along with seemingly half a dozen other Kentucky Wildcats. Toppin's defense goes down hard. Mintz did, but he's back up.
There's a lot of one-on-one, just go get your own in Georgia Tech's offense. And that's the most important thing for the team in blue today, is guarding the basketball, forcing Georgia Tech to run offense. Ball on the floor. Ware goes down with it. Georgia Tech comes away with it. Long 3 off the front iron. No good. Maybe on Mintz. Why? I mean, like, why would you take that shot if you're Georgia Tech?
Right now, everything feels a little rushed.
That question I asked earlier, what does my team need from me? They did not need that shot.
Another turnover for Kentucky. We please invite you, if you're able, to support cancer research by visiting v.org/donate. 100% of what you give goes to cancer research. And while Jimmy and I haven't seen each other, we have talked to each other quite a bit, and it hasn't been the most upbeat of last couple of months for yourself, Jimmy. Now, Rav, you've been a great friend. That word cancer now means so much more to me than it did just a couple of months ago. My father battled it for 5 years and passed away 2 months ago at the age of 85. And the greatest joy in his life was watching you and I do college basketball. He was actually buried in an ESPN college basketball sweatshirt. That's how much it meant to him. Really? I just continue to encourage people to give, and fight that disease. Lost our dog to cancer also just a couple of weeks ago. So I appreciate your friendship, but please take all those opportunities that we have as a country to continue to do all we can to get that word out of our conversation. It has impacted my family in a way that I never thought it would, but unfortunately, I think it's a word that all of us have to deal with at some point in time. But I appreciate you being there, man. Well, that was easy. Jimmy, I'm going to stand up here for a second because I know you were looking for these shirts. Guess who's wearing one of these shirts?
Good job.
Your guy has one here, and of course, we'll talk much more a little later about our good friend Stuart Scott, who of course lost his life to cancer, and the Stu Scott Memorial Cancer Research Fund. So these shirts are available. I'll let you know in a little while where you can get them. But obviously, Jimmy's father, Stuart Scott, and so many members of all the viewers' families that have been affected by cancer. The V Foundation for Cancer Research works. I mean, it is amazing the number of people who go on to survive cancer now that in years past never would have. So we will continue to honor Jimmy V during this week, talk much more about our buddy Stuart Scott, who has been gone nearly 6 years, which is so amazing because he's such a huge part of our life on a day-to-day basis. And wearing a t-shirt with the Booyah on it, that's become part of the English language. He invites you to give now at v.org/donate. And again, 100% of the donations benefit the V Foundation for Cancer Research. We'll come back. Kentucky and Georgia Tech underway. We're back. Jimmy Dykes, Carl Ravitch. Georgia Tech leads 14-11, 9:23 to go. It has certainly been a very difficult watch for Kentucky fans to start this season. We've seen games in which they've led, but the turnovers to assist ratio is just backwards, and they're starting that game this way as well, Jimmy.
Kentucky's had 20 offensive possessions in this game. They have 9 turnovers. Like, you can't beat anyone when you continue to throw the ball, cough it up, kick it off your foot to the other team. Kentucky has not played clean, and they have to play clean on offense to have any shot to make that chance, to make that leap that we've seen Kentucky in the past.
Terence Clark hits another one. He has led the way with 8 of the 13 points. Are they forcing it? What are you seeing on the offensive end that you would try to encourage them or discourage them from either continuing to do or stop doing?
Kentucky's playing way too fast on offense. I mean, you want to be aggressive, but there's a line there that you never cross over. Kentucky just, to me, they're rushing everything that they're doing on the offensive end.
Well, how quick did that get in and out of the hands of Jose Alvarado? That three makes it 17-13. 8.5 to go in the first half.
Georgia Tech will double out of their zone. You've got to get the ball reversed. You got to get multiple side touches. You cannot settle for early. This is a good sign for Kentucky, though, as Clarke bangs down another one.
Yeah, he has been real hot. Terence Clark, 11 points, and he's knocked down both of his three-pointers. Clark in Boston came in 0 for 19 from three-point land. That three no
came
good.
in, Ravi. Clark came in 0 for 8. But the three-point shots that he's taken, he has shot it with like 7 out of 8 confidence. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Sarr, that's a good area for him to get that ball inside the key, inside the paint. He knocks it down. Kentucky now on top. And Olivier Sarr, he and Jackson, two of the guys Coach Cal said we're going to play through if we can more often than the outside shots. Good bounce pass. Notice it's right on the baseline, flushes it in.
He has been tremendous talking about Wright on film. He handles all the passes, the hard passes, the low passes, the bounce passes. He goes and gets it. He plays the game as a big, number 5 in gold with 2 hands, about as well as we can find.
Clark stepped through, and look out. Terence Clark off to a fabulous start. He's got 13 of the 20.
Yeah, the best minutes that Terence Clark has played in a Kentucky uniform. I think we have to note again, John Calipari doesn't have one guy available today that has played in a Kentucky uniform until this year. That is almost unheard of and extremely uncommon.
Bad pass from Alvarado, run out for Kentucky. Mintz lays it up and in, and Kentucky increases their lead to 3. That'll lead to a Bassner Georgia Tech timeout.
Kentucky's at their best, ripping and roaring with their young thoroughbreds. Clarke, I love his offensive confidence right now, sticking threes, on balance with 2. Well done. 5, well done.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching ESPN's Feast Week. It's presented by Lowe's, University of Kentucky. 7-hour bus ride later, they lead Georgia Tech 22-19 with 6:49 left to go in the first half. Well, you think Georgia Tech athletics, and certainly with the basketball, you're thinking about guys like Kenny Anderson, but there have been many other great athletes that have come out of Georgia Tech, including our guy, Mark Teixeira. The text message played for the Yellow Jackets back in 99, 2000, 2001. He was the Rookie of the Year in the ACC, the Player of the Year in his sophomore year, and part of our house calls here. He joins us now from his home studio. Our text, we got the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. So when you see them, and I know you follow them football-wise, like, what's your connection to the university? What's that like for you now?
You know, now that I'm retired, Carl, and working with you guys at ESPN, I get to be a fan. And, you know, being a fan right now at Georgia Tech is really about kind of building programs. We're building a program in football. You know, building a program here with Josh Pastner. We had a good year last year, 17-14, 11-9 in the ACC. I don't think we can recruit with the Kentuckys of the world, as you guys were just talking about. You know, Kentucky gets McDonald's All-Americans every year, but it is fun watching these programs grow. And I'm on 2 boards at Georgia Tech and do support the university a lot.
Yeah, Tex, Jimmy, for your knowledge, is like the most involved guy in the Atlanta area, in the Georgia Tech community. When he leaves, he never leaves. So when he decides to leave the Yankees, still part of the Yankees. Same with the Angels and the Braves, and if he ever leaves us, we know he's still going to be a part of us. Tell us about your Georgia Tech experience as we're watching Jose Alvarado launch a 3 and miss another shot. What about your Georgia Tech experience?
Best 3 years of my life, and really, that's not hyperbole. And I got to play in the big leagues for 14 years and won a World Series and had more success professionally than I could ever imagine. But you want to talk about just an absolute blast when you're hanging out with your buddies. I met my wife. Our football team was great all 3 years. We beat Georgia 3 years in a row. I had an absolute blast and got a pretty decent education at the same time.
You got a question for Tex, Jimmy, on a house call?
Yeah, Tex, let's just get to what's really important right here. What is your experience like working with Ravi? Because you and I need to talk after this game, by the way. I want just text me your cell phone number, but for the audience right now, give me the answer that you would give.
first of all, when I first stepped into the studio, I had no idea what I was doing. So I looked at Carl and just said, hey, man, you got to help me out here. And so the first thing I would say, great teammate. I mean, you want to talk about one of the all-time great teammates, Carl Ravitch it's like Derek Jeter, and then Carl Ravitch is like right there underneath the captain. And number two, whatever you ask him to do, he nails it. Absolutely nails it.
Sorry, Jimmy, not the answer you wanted. I know.
Wow. Oh, that's coming from a guy that should understand what a great teammate actually looks like and sounds like and feels like.
Attaboy, Tex. I knew there was a reason to have you doing a house call with us. You saw that layup put up and in. That was Bubba Parham. Bubba Parham once went for 35 against Kentucky when he wore a VMI uniform. Tex, when you were playing for the Yellow Jackets, was there a team that you just destroyed? Like, did they look at you and be like, ugh, it's Teixeira again?
You know, in the ACC, it was really us, Clemson, and Florida State. And so those guys, you know, Clemson and Florida State pitched me really tough. But you know, for some reason, I always hit Carolina well. Loved going to Chapel Hill and playing against those powder blues. So anytime Georgia Tech can beat Carolina, especially in basketball, they were down last year. So I think we beat Carolina maybe twice last year. I know at least once. Anytime you can beat the powder blue, it feels pretty good.
It feels pretty good. Watching this guy has been great. And if you haven't seen him, Tex, Moses Wright is your guy this year. And here he is with another chance for a three-point play. Jimmy, again, 1 year of high school basketball. Look at what he's been able to do.
Well, but it's all starting, guys, with Georgia Tech. That time it was DeVoe one-on-one. And for Georgia Tech, you have to guard at all 5 spots off the bounce because their instincts are to catch it and go. And right now they are having some success breaking Kentucky down. But I love the soft pause of Moses Wright. That guy he does not fumble the ball, man.
Right. Tex, quickly, we've seen this guy, Wright. You play college baseball. The ability of a college player to develop from his high school years through college, just share with that in the last couple of seconds we have you with us.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a guy like Wright, and Georgia Tech needs to get old, right? And we talk about that. They're not going to recruit the high school All-Americans, but guys like Moses Wright, perfect example. And I played with him, you know, as an 18-year-old. You look at a kid, and you can see a ton of talent and a ton of ability. And when you put great coaches around you, like Josh Pastner and the coaching staff we have at Georgia Tech, I had Danny Hall and some of the best coaches you could ever ask for as a college baseball player. Those 3 or 4 years, you can really grow as a person and obviously as a player. We see it on the court with Moses Wright.
And you know what Bobby Cremins did. You were there, right, during the Cremins years?
Bobby Cremins, one of my favorite people in the world. I hope he's watching this game. Coach, I love you. I hope you're doing well. And, you know, Bobby Cremins had a lot of success. He built that Georgia Tech program out of nothing.
Yeah, he did. And he built it with a lot of guys coming from New York City. Tex, we got a 3 from Georgia Tech. Since you've been on, they've opened their lead up to 6. Have a great holiday. Thanks so much for being with us, buddy. We'll see you and talk much more about baseball, etc. during the offseason. Thanks, Tex.
Call me later, Tex.
Thanks for having me, guys.
There's nothing to talk about. I know this about Tex. He preaches the truth.
Move forward.
Seth, I don't think Coach even knows yet. Talking about Calipari, we asked him that same question yesterday, and he says, my guys, naturally so as young freshmen, they don't know how to lead themselves, much less others. So my eyes would go to Olivier Sarr and Davion Mintz, 2 older guys that have been through a lot of battles. Now, will they be confident in their voice with all that talent around them? They should be, because I think Mintz and Olivier Sarr are the 2 guys that can carry Kentucky early right now till the young guys find their feet. But it's you got to play through those 2.
Jump shot from Moore, and that was a set play out of that break. And Georgia Tech on an 11-0 run, lead it 31-22.
Yeah, we touched on it, and Seth did as well. Kentucky's inability to stay in front of the ball is a real issue right now. And that's the problem as a coach. You go into a week's worth of practice, Ravi, getting your offense better. If you're not careful, you can lose your edge in what you are doing well, defending your tail off and rebounding the basketball. And Georgia Tech's playing much harder today than they did in their first 2 ball games. They were way too cool, Georgia Tech was, against Mercer and Georgia State.
Yeah, to your point, and I'm not sure everybody picked it up on it Georgia Tech, for the first couple of days, were running 1-on-0, 5-on-0 practices. Josh Baxter said, I was so concerned about COVID and all the different restrictions and protocols. I wasn't going to have our players surrounded by other players. So he went for the first couple of days, if not weeks, without doing any of that. After falling 0-2, he said, I got to change the way we're doing things. They got some chips in their watches, etc., to know when they're around their different players for 15 minutes and within 6 feet. And as he promised, we're going to be a lot better. And they've certainly showed it here. They're up 31-22. Alvarado's going to the free throw line. Moses Wright's been crazy good. He's got 13 points on 5 of 9 shooting. The 22nd annual ACC Big Ten Challenge on ESPN and the ESPN app. Top 15 double dip on Tuesday night. If you haven't seen Iowa, watch out. That is a legit national championship team taking on Carolina, 7:30 Eastern time. And then it's 5th-ranked Illinois and 6th-ranked Duke at Cameron Indoor. Two great Sonic blockbusters.
I will be at Iowa Tuesday night. Luka Garza, think about this. 76 points in his last 2 games. That's the best 2-game span in the Big Ten in the last 20 years. He has outscored the last 2 opponents in the first half all by himself. You want to see what I think is the National Player of the Year Tuesday night. Luka Garza, must-watch TV.
Evian Mintz misses another shot from the corner. His outside shooting is something that Kentucky was hoping would be something they could count on, but he missed there. Now Georgia Tech misses, and it's Clarke. Mintz into the paint. That's a wide open 3 for Askew. That one drops. A high arcing 3.
That's a good job by Kentucky to, out of their transition push, to quickly find the backside of the play. Askew had his feet set. He caught it right on the numbers and shot it with confidence.
Six on the shot clock. Moses Wright hard to the rack with the left and gets it to go. 15 points in the first half from Moses Wright.
He came in, Moses Wright, averaging 25 and 12. He's tracking a higher number than that. He's taking the ball anywhere he wants, anytime he wants. Normally we say that about a point guard. We're saying that about a cat that's 6'9" and 230.
Good take again. Clarke is matching Wright. He's got 15. Kentucky
Clarke
has
leads.
12 turnovers, Jimmy. 12 turnovers in the game, and they've got 7 assists.
Yeah, and you need to keep that number for a 40-minute game at 12 or 13 if you're going to win hard games. Clarke leads Kentucky in paint touches in their practices and their games. Today, he's actually finishing once he gets in the paint. He's playing on balance, and he's not charging over people.
3.3 on the clock. It is Georgia Tech inbounding. They get it to Wright. Fade away, no good, no foul. So we'll head to the break. 34-27 in favor of Georgia Tech. What a show for big Moses Wright, who when he was born, his dad said, Moses is going to lead this family to greatness. That was a heck of a first half.
You know that
the
story,
Jeep halftime report, Helen Cuff and Seth Greenberg. Welcome back to Feast Week. It's presented by Lowe's for the Pit Boss Grills Holiday Hoops Giving. It is the holiday season. This is all part of V-Week. And Kentucky trailing Georgia Tech 34-27. 2 superstar performances from Clarke and from Wright, each with 15 points. Clarke ends up with 15 in 18 minutes. Jimmy Dykes, Carl Ravitch. Let's focus on the team that's currently ranked, and that's Kentucky. You're missing Ashton Hagans, of course, who's left. It feels like if they had a dependable point guard, the assist-to-turnover ratio is still on the wrong side of things here, and there's nobody to slow things down for them.
Yeah, they're just offensively right now, Ravi, they just don't know what they're doing. You know, it's a team that's just, they're not in a groove, they're not in a rhythm. Georgia Tech has scrambled the game up some. They've changed their defense. They've kept Kentucky uncomfortable. But Calipari right now does not have a point guard. Askew can't go by people. Mintz is not really a point guard. The one good spot for Kentucky offensively has been the rise of Terence Clark. He knocked down a couple of threes. He's attacked under control today. On the flip side, this dude's done anything you want. Number 5 from Georgia Tech, if you're John Calipari at halftime, says, look, do I have anyone in this locker room that wants this challenge? Because number 5 for them is beating us right now any way he wants. And Moses Wright, my gosh, came in averaging 25 and 12. He's going to get those numbers again today.
Sure is. The 2 number 5s have been dominant. Let's see what Kentucky does out of that half. A lot of times Calipari terrific at adjustments. And we've seen Georgia Tech in a zone. They're in a zone again, and then some laziness on the other end. Leads to a 2-on-1 and an easy layup for Jose Alvarado. It looked like Terence Clark gave up on the ball.
Yeah, he did give up on the ball. That's the 13th turnover now for Kentucky in this game.
1-3-1 for Georgia Tech on defense.
The ball's got to get below the free throw line extended, and something good will happen.
Askew spins it across. There's a 3 ball. That one drops. Brandon Boston only played a couple of minutes in the first half with some fouls. He knocks down that 3. He's got 6 points.
Kentucky now, I believe, 5 out of 9 from the 3-point line. So they came in, couldn't make a 3. They made some today, but their lack of getting shots up in this game on the rim and allowing offensive rebounds to come in is a big part of it as well.
Michael DeVoe did not have a good half, but he finds in the corner the jumper from Khalid Moore.
I mentioned Georgia Tech in their first 2 games played too cool because I think Michael DeVoe played too cool. When your leading returning scorer takes the court without that edge and that dog and that fight, it just goes to everyone else. Georgia Tech has corrected that, Ravi, I think, in the last 4 or 5 days.
Jordan Usher picks up the foul on the baseline. Jimmy, let's go back to that lack of hustle from Clarke.
In just the first possession of the game, the second half. Clarke is watching and staring, and Georgia Tech is running and retrieving the basketball. And if you're a young player and you are delusional about who you are and what your game is and how it needs to change, you can't be helped. And John Calipari had one-on-one meetings with his guys this past week, and it was a truth meeting is what John Calipari told us. Challenging his guys to understand this isn't good enough. How you're playing is not going to help Kentucky win. And John Calipari is a face-to-face, the film doesn't lie guy. And he has to be very disappointed in the first 21, 22 minutes of this ball game so far.
Usher's picked up his 3rd foul. Georgia Tech by 9, 18 to go. Kentucky 1-2 to start the season. Georgia Tech 0-2. They haven't started 0-3 since 1973-74. Clark has it at the free throw line. He dumps it down low to Sarr. Did he lose it off himself? No, it goes off a Georgia Tech defender.
Ravi, I said in the first half, if you're Kentucky, you have to move yourself and you have to move the ball in this game. And you almost have to do it on every possession, no matter what the defense is, because they can confuse you. And Kentucky has guarded themselves some in this game by being stationary. Offensive, isn't it?
Sure is. They call that on Clarke. One thing Cal told us, Jimmy, we've heard it before. What worked at the high school level will not work here, and that has to do with one-on-one play. It has to do with things like this, and then that sort of shock look they give the official. Like that never happened in high school.
Well, the bounce that time by Clarke, his first bounce, Ravi, it went nowhere. The first bounce by Clarke was right beside his right hip. The ball didn't take him anywhere, and he didn't go anywhere. Easy for a defender to pick up the call.
DeVoe in the paint, too easy. Baseline flush and another one for Wright.
The ball once again gets into the lane for Georgia Tech. And then Kentucky starts ball watching, and you start ball watching, you will be dunked on, and that's exactly what's happening in this game.
Clarke trying to do it all by himself, knocks down a 3. He's got 18. While Clark's doing all the scoring, Jimmy, you're getting nothing from Sarr and Jackson. Nothing.
No, they're not. You know, Seth asked us in the first half, who's going to be the potential guy for Kentucky going forward? We might be seeing it right now in Terence Clark growing up in this game. Offensively, he's in a groove. He's attacking. He's under control. Had a couple of turnovers, but for the most part, he's played well. That's what Kentucky Ravi has to do.
And that was a great pass from
success. Yeah, no success with their half-court offense. They've got to turn their defense into offense in this game.
First basket for Jackson. Pastner wants to talk about what he just saw. Lead is down to 6 as Kentucky knocks the 3 from Clarke, and then the run out from Mintz to Jackson.
What young guys can do is get out and run. Isaiah Jackson running down the pipe for a freshman as good as we have in that freshman class.
Out of Canton, Georgia, Jordan Usher just picked up his 4th foul for Georgia Tech. So he takes a seat on the bench. Bubba Palmer had a nice first half with 6 points, is back in the game. And Kentucky's made it a 6-point game. It's interesting, Jimmy. Maybe that guy, is he going to play himself into that leadership alpha role with just the number of points that he's scoring? And then does that translate if you happen to be one of the kids that isn't so vocal or verbal?
Well, you're a fake leader if it's any other way, Ravi. You have to play your way into that situation at Kentucky, and there's nothing given in that program. But how do you play your way into that position? You get things done in a hard game on the road. And Clarke right now has kept Kentucky in this thing with a season high 18 points, hasn't missed a 3 yet. And you could be seeing, we watch these kids grow up in the past. Quickly and Knox and Shea Gilgeous Alexander, and this could be the game that Clarke says, you know what, I'm the guy on this team. We all need to understand that, but more importantly, does he understand that going forward, and does it continue in this game?
And then eventually, obviously, what happens is Mintz knocks down the free throw is teams start to focus on Clarke. And then at that point, somebody like Boston or Askew or Sarr or Jackson, somebody else is going to need to lead the way when it comes to scoring.
You know, we keep hearing Cal talk about Terence Clark possibly being a play starter, a point guard at the top. And if that point guard situation doesn't get a little bit cleaner between Askew and Mintz, I wouldn't be surprised to see Cal go big and let Terence Clark be that primary handler up top.
Kentucky a little more active on defense. That time the ball fake got Sarr to help out. Good help defense. And here comes Kentucky with numbers. Floater, and that one is knocked in. Ted Valentine got a foul maybe on the shot.
I think they got Clarke for the foul, Ravi.
Offensive foul. He left his feet, came down. We'll find out. 41-37, under 16 to go in Atlanta. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's, home for the holiday. And Academy Sports and Outdoors, bring fun home for the holidays at Academy Sports and Outdoors. It's in Memphis. John Calipari, the head coach. Josh Pastner, his assistant. He went out and hired Pastner from Arizona because he figured, A, he's a great coach and he's a recruiter, but it opens up maybe that Arizona area to the folks in Memphis. Cal, of course, then left to go to Kentucky.
Well, and when he did, Josh Pastner was headed to Kentucky with him, and over a course of about 6 or 7 days, about 20 different coaches across the country turned down the Memphis job, knowing that I don't want to be the guy that follows Calipari. And Josh Pastner, the AD at the time, called him in and said, hey, do you want the job? And Josh initially said no, thinking that he was saying, do you want to stay here as the assistant for the next guy? And next thing you know, Josh Pastner is 31 years of age, and he's the head coach at Memphis. And it's interesting, Josh told me earlier this week that when Calipari signed his contract, his initial contract to go to Kentucky, he had to have a witness for the signing, and he had to sign it as well. Josh Pastner is also, his signature is also on Calipari's first contract going to Kentucky as a witness.
Is that right? That's unbelievable. So they called a foul before we went to break on the floor on Bubba Parham, which is why Kentucky got the ball back. And then they ran out of time on the shot clock, and an air ball from Clarke. Great cut and a nice drop off as Alvarado lays it up and in.
Yeah, oh, shoot is right, because you were ball watching and you get backdoor cut by Georgia Tech. And that's putting it kindly.
Jackson is wide open on the baseline. They don't see him, and another turnover. And an easy layup. And the lead grows to 8, and Sturdivant makes it 45-37.
Ravi, remember in gym class, we always had a guy in gym class named Harry, and he would throw the two-handed passes real high and soft. There's the ball watching, first of all, and the gut cut down the middle by Jose Alvarado. But then the next possession, that pass right there, that high school Harry pass will be picked off every single time. And you have to know by now, Georgia Tech is going to double out of their zone. They're going to double in the corners. They're going to double on the high wings at times. They keep you guessing. You cannot throw high school passes against the Georgia Tech zone. You can. It'll just be 2 points for the other team.
17 turnovers for Kentucky. You take a look at Georgia Tech, they have 4 turnovers in this game. In fact, you look at the numbers from the first couple of games that Kentucky played, Jimmy, the numbers would have suggested, other than the turnovers, they played well on the rebounding. They kept the opponents from having a high shooting percentage. And yet 1 and 2 and in danger of losing 3 in a row, which is something Cal hasn't done but once back in 2017-18 at Kentucky.
Georgia Tech shooting 62% in the second half. Now 2 of those baskets have come off of easy turnovers and layups. That's what I talked about in the first half. You try to fix one part of your young team, your offense, and all of a sudden what was keeping you in games against Kansas and Richmond slides away, your defense and your rebound.
Just interesting. It felt like their goal was going to be to get the ball to Sarr and Jackson, and they are 2 of 5 from the floor. Long effort from 3, no good, and the loose ball goes to Georgia Tech.
Ravi, that shot was taken halfway through the shot clock.
Davion Mintz needs a 3 to go and finally finds the bottom.
If Kentucky has a 40% three-point shooter on the year, it's Davion Mintz. That's what he's tracking right now. And him ahead of the play in transition is money for Kentucky.
First 3 and 4 attempts. He made 43 a couple of years ago as a junior at Creighton. He sat out all last year, redshirt with an ankle issue. We're going to get steps.
Davion Mintz just got out ahead of the play, and the ball got reversed quickly. And there's nothing wrong with taking that shot after 2 passes if you're Kentucky. What you don't want is those 2 pass possessions in the half-court true offense. Mintz's stroke, I've seen in person. It's as good as we have in the SEC this year.
Michael DeVoe frees himself up for a shot. He's been cold. Wright doing work. Down low, turnover, and here comes Mintz. Boston steps into one. No good. And the ball controlled by Georgia Tech. Big chance there for Brandon Boston, but he hasn't been able to get on track today. 2 of 5 from the floor, now 2 of 6. Isaiah Jackson, one-on-one runner and hard to guard.
Ravi, on those elbow touches for Jackson, his instincts and his quickness and his rip and drive, it's like a 6'1" or a 6'2" guard, and his length in person is impressive. Really rebounds outside of his reach. I mean, he's just got a lot of things that you can't teach.
That's going to be called offensive on Alvarado. Davion Mintz has put together a nice couple of minutes here on the offensive and defensive end.
Well, Mintz is a guy, Ravi, that is a bulldog defensively. Watch this right here by Jackson. Kind of the fake rip going to the right and comes back quickly to his left. Gets on one bounce and one big step, and that is good offense. When Cal talked to us yesterday on the 7-hour bus ride again, he talked about playing through Sarr and Jackson. Jackson, to me, at that free throw elbow area is a monster to handle.
He's got a 7'4" wingspan. I know on the SEC network he did their Midnight Madness, and he had a dunk in which he left from the free throw line and windmilled it in.
Yes, he did.
Kentucky 5 of 8 from the floor in the second half. Georgia Tech 5 of 11. Wright by Sarr, high off the window and gets it to go. What a play by Moses Wright.
Well, he has really played hard. Again, his ability to take the ball anywhere, anytime he wants against Kentucky's D has been very impressive today.
Mintz 3, high archer, no good. And a fight for the rebound, it's Kentucky's. Austin can't get it to go, and he rattles it in and out. Wright pulls it down. Here comes Georgia Tech.
I love Kentucky, though, trying to feed Mintz confidence on the flight of the ball. You heard Kentucky's team knock it down, knock it down. Man, that's how you communicate on the offensive end.
Georgia Tech is like this matchup, and Wright, oh, he knocks down a jumper now. He's got 21.
What has he not shown us, Ravi? He can knock down that 16-footer. He has a high unblockable release. He's getting you off the bounce, going both directions and around the rim. He still has not fumbled the ball.
Askew left his feet, turnover. Wright. Wide open 3. Georgia Tech now up by 9. Now 10 to give him a 3. And Parham is hurting the Wildcats again. Foul on the floor. That may be Alvarado's 3rd. And it will be Moses Wright. Georgia Tech by 10. I like what you did there, Dallin. I feel you. I like what you did there. And he certainly is. Moses Wright has been the story for Georgia Tech. 9 of 14, 3 of 3 from the stripe. He's got 5 rebounds in 26 minutes. He's got 21 points.
And the burning bush telling Moses to stay with it. And Kentucky has not had an answer for that 6'9", 235-pound body that Josh Pastner has moved around really well on the offensive end in different spots.
They got it to Jackson in the right spot. Sarr couldn't come down with the offensive rebound. And after Kentucky had made it a close game, Georgia Tech fights him off, and now back up to 10 with 10 to play. The high screen set leads to an open jump shot and a good shot. 54-42.
Yeah, that screener defender not engaged in the play, doesn't step up and impact the ball screen at all defensively. Georgia Tech guards are wired to score in those situations.
Parham's got a dozen now. Good defense and a good battle there from Boston.
Well, I think Ted Valentine thought maybe the ball didn't hit the rim, and it did not, but the shot clock was reset. And they kept it. The ball never hit the rim, did it not?
It didn't, and I think Teddy thought that it didn't hit the rim, and they said that's right, and then they gave him a fresh 30, and this is run out and a layup for Georgia Tech, who now leads by 14.
You can't win when you continue to throw the ball to the other team. Man, that's a simple fundamental of the game. And Kentucky just careless, Ravi. They're sped up. They're not seeing the play a couple of plays ahead and slowing themselves down.
19 turnovers in the game for Kentucky. And 5 for Georgia Tech. Again, the veteran guards, you tend to control the ball. You don't turn it over. Alvarado knocks another one down. He's into double digits with 10.
I said it about Alvarado in the first half, and that's who he is. He's not going to have great numbers, but he cares about winning more than he does about breathing, the kid in the headband. And he just makes so many plays, and Georgia Tech follows his voice. They follow his juice. They follow his fight really well.
Mintz had an uncontested three, waited, then it became a contested three, and he missed with 8 minutes left to go in this one. Georgia Tech is up big now. Another jumper goes. It's 61-44.
And if you are a big Blue Nation fan, a Kentucky fan, this is hard to watch. The turnovers, the carelessness, the lack of offense, the lack of defense. It's hard to defend turnovers. All those things just stockpiling up on Kentucky in this game.
Clarke, a runner, as he tries to bring them back, but they are down 15 points.
I mean, Kentucky needs help right now. And what I mean by that, they need Georgia Tech to come down and lose their mind for a couple of minutes and fire up quick, bad shots.
Like that?
There's just like that right there. So Georgia Tech guarded themselves on that possession.
Clarke spins his way deep into the lane and lays it up and in over Parham. He's got 7 now in the second half, 22 in the game.
Has Georgia Tech learned the lesson on this possession? No, Josh Pastner can call a play right now that is a 3 or 4 pass play. Instead he goes for the clear out, just goes one-on-one.
Stolen by Wright, and he gets tripped up by Jackson, and Moses Wright slow to get up. But another turnover for Kentucky.
Rav, I'm pretty sure I heard
the lead is 15.
I think I heard Wright say, oh, give me that. I mean, that's the defensive confidence that Texas Tech is playing with. In that last offensive possession, clear out, one-on-one, in the lane for Parham against Clarke. Well done.
Georgia Tech got 28 points off 20 Kentucky turnovers. It's time for tonight's play of the game, brought to you by Pit Boss Grills.
Moses Wright has been a monster, certainly around the rim, but really all over the floor. And Josh has moved him around well, but he has taken the ball any place, anytime, and he has taken his body, Ravi, any place, anytime. And look at the start for this guy. He came in averaging 25 and 12 and putting up huge numbers again. Man, you talk about hard to guard. You're looking at him right there, number 5 from Georgia Tech.
When Moses Wright was growing up, his mom wanted him to focus on things like swimming and tennis, some of the non-conventional sports. Basically, as Moses has said in interviews, my mom didn't want me playing basketball and football like everybody else. She wanted me to do some other things, become a little more well-rounded. It was his dad who kind of pushed him in that. And then he lost his dad. It was back in 2012. And as a result, his mom started to realize the value in the relationships that he was developing on the basketball floor with some of the coaches, etc., who could be that father figure to him. And now the way he's playing, he may have a career in basketball.
Ravi, I love his story. They go right through the chest of Sarr. I love his story because no rating out of high school, Moses Wright. He played 1 year high school ball, 1 year AAU ball. But when you have that type of ability, but more importantly, that type of character and work ethic and toughness. And that looked like I thought it was a pretty good blue wall thrown up by Sarr. But if I was John Calipari in that last timeout, I would have pulled out a picture of my family, Ellen, Brad, his 2 daughters, and said, I want you guys, all of you, to understand something. Next to these people in this picture, the basketball is the most important thing in my life. And you continue to throw it to the other team. Am I clear? 20 turnovers today for Kentucky, coming in after back-to-back games and losses where they had a combined 37. Not strong with the ball, not physically strong with their bodies, not mentally strong as well. A lot of growing up to do for this Kentucky team.
Sarr went hard to the hole there. Wright gets him with the foul. So here are the numbers this season. Assists and turnovers. The Richmond game was a disaster. Kansas didn't go well. And tonight, 7 fewer assists than turnovers.
Yeah,
which generally, Jimmy, right? You point to your point guard, don't you? Isn't that who controls the basketball?
Yeah, it is. And so as a result of not having that one guy that's in charge and quarterback, and now the turnovers are spread amongst everybody because everybody's trying to make plays that they're not capable of making. That Richmond team's a real team. I think they got a chance to finish right there, either 1 or 2 in the A-10. Kansas, I'm not sure yet how good Kansas is. We saw them lose to Gonzaga in a big-time way, and then they got pushed all the way to the final 30 seconds against North Dakota State last night. So it's not like Kentucky right now is getting beat by top 10 teams night after night. It's just there's a lot of question marks for Big Blue Nation right now.
A 3-on-2 leads to a turnover and a Georgia Tech dunk. Jordan Usher flushed it down. Askew's the point guard. You see how quickly he gave that ball up, Jimmy?
Well, Cal's asking to be a play starter, and right now it's just not working. Askew reclassified, Ravi, should be a senior in high school.
Yep.
Right now, to me, just does not look ready for this big stage of Kentucky basketball that they play on.
Better ball movement there. That leads to a Boston 3.
Josh Pastner told me earlier this week, he said, Jimmy, I promise you we're going to be a better team on Sunday than we were in our first 2 ball games. We've had physical practices. I've gone to 2 days. He said, I don't know if we're going to win, but we are going to be better. And they've had zero coolness about them today. They've had fight. They've had toughness. They've been connected on both ends of the floor.
Tough shot, Alvarado. Better defense that time from Askew. Get it down to 10 with how many minutes to go to feel like he got a chance?
Well, you got to have a good 59 seconds right here and get to that media timeout at the 10-point mark.
Great example of the difference between a senior and a freshman. Wright ripped that ball away from Sarr, and Sarr looked like he was overmatched.
Good ball movement by Georgia Tech. No resistance by Kentucky defensively. The drive, the baseline hammer pass, the easy high wing reversals.
Isaiah Jackson, that's good.
I've been impressed with Georgia Tech's closeouts in this game. They've done a good job of coming out with a low butt and a mean streak about them. Those, Ravi, those pretty boy, high hand, chop your feet, say shot. Those are fake closeouts. And Georgia Tech's had real grown man, low butt, mean streak closeouts in this game.
Good swing into the corner. That one drops. Georgia Tech's shooting lights out in the second half. Over 52% from the floor.
Yeah, they're at 67% in the second half, Georgia Tech is. And remember that 10-point, we want to be at the 10-point mark at that 4-minute media timeout?
That ain't happening.
Ain't gonna happen. What is happening in this ball game is Georgia Tech's offense has been really good. They've gotten anything they've wanted in the second half,
including that Sturdivant 3. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Pit Boss Grills. Get the hottest gift on the market this holiday season. Visit pitboss-grills.com. It's K Jewelers, because we believe that love is unstoppable. And Vault Health. Vault has FDA, EAU authorized at-home COVID-19 testing. It's fast, easy, and painless. Hasn't been painless so far for Georgia Tech, and that guy, Moses Wright. All Tech 72-55, and on the same floor back in 2000, 86-84, Georgia Tech on a buzzer beater with 2 seconds to go, beat them 86-84. Barring some miracle, this one's not going to get nearly as close as that. Georgia Tech shooting almost 70% in the second half, 4 of 10 from 3. Kentucky's issues are many. Olivier Sarr, who you see there, Jimmy, is 1 for 4 from the floor with 4 points.
No factor. I mean, really no factor by Kentucky today from that 4 and 5 position. I mean, Isaiah Jackson's got 4 points, but you know, they've kind of been punked a little bit in this ball game around the rim by number 5 from Georgia Tech. And Cal told us yesterday, it's at some point your team has to hit the low point, the low mark, and we might be watching it right now, because Kentucky, this Ravi, again, you turn it over 20 times and you can't force turnovers with your defense. Georgia Tech's only turned it over 6 times, and it's hard to overcome those kind of numbers when the other team has gotten up 11 or 12 more shots than you just because of the turnover. Look at the points off turnovers. It's astounding.
Wide open, easy bucket. Well, that's the second time, Jimmy, that the term punked has been used with regards to Kentucky and an opponent. I saw a comment from one of the Kentucky players, I think it was Toppin actually, who said, well, mentally that doesn't bother us because we're all dogs. That's not a word you want to be associated with, especially when you've been punked as opposed to having done the punking.
No, it's not. On the other end, just a total lack of awareness when they extend their defense, talking about Kentucky to protect that rim. You build that extended defense from your rim out, and Kentucky forgot about the most important part of it. And they're in a league this year that I think it's going to be a very unforgiving league. I know that kind of the big statement on the SEC right now is it has struggled out of the gate, but we may have our eyes on the wrong team. Tennessee's the real deal, and they start this season behind everyone else because of COVID. But that's a legitimate, I think, Elite Eight, Final Four team, and we'll see if that plays out. Missouri has had a good start out of the gate. They had a double-figure win against Oregon. Arkansas is loaded up. They're not playing anybody yet, but they are loaded up and bringing the hammer to folks when they do.
Mike White's Florida Gators look a little different this year.
They look Trey, man.
Yeah.
Well, last year I questioned really how good of a big guard could he be. He has been the most improved player in the SEC from what I've seen so far for Mike White. And this is a league that's this league's ready to roll right now. And Kentucky has a lot of ground to make up with conference play starting in just a couple of weeks.
So put yourself in the position of the coaching staff. You're going to have a lot of guys who've never played together with each other. Do they start looking around the room and wondering, like, what's going on with him? Why isn't he help? Like, what happens to a group that's going to be 1-3?
Well, they certainly could. And that's what John Calipari's job is as the head coach, is to continue to make progress, learn, and go on. And they're going to have to learn from this one because Georgia Tech played well now. They played well in this game.
Sure did.
And we can't take anything away from them, but the turnover issue is still there, and the lack of offense and lack of how are we supposed to play on the offensive end. To me, that question has not been answered.
Jimmy, Georgia Tech hasn't gotten a point from DeVoe, who's continuing to dribble there. And yet they're up. That ball misses by 17.
That rebound, to me, sums up the game. Alvarado is listed at 6 feet. He's probably 5'10", and he goes in and has more fight than anyone else on the floor for the board.
A blow by and a kick out and a three. And he's off his Parham, so Sarr able to clear, but there's 2 minutes and 16 seconds to go in a 17-point game.
Ravi, one thing for anyone, but certainly for first-year players in college, the shot you take in a college game is way more important. It's way more important than the shots you used to take in a high school game or an AAU game where you can miss 4 or 5 in a row and it really didn't matter. It matters now. You can't keep taking shots at this level and win games if you're okay going 1 for 6, 1 for 7. Clarke answered the bell today, but other guys have to start making shots if Kentucky's going to be a factor in the SEC.
So Jimmy, Clarke had 15 points in the first half. He has 22 in the game.
Well, he's been their only offense, and he's had to work for it. It's been a lot of Clarke's ability getting points in this game. Just his long step, Ravi, his ability to get to the paint and play under control today. Certainly the best thing for Kentucky on the offensive end.
Well, with a minute to go, what are the changes you would make? And I know you can't have a knee-jerk reaction, and that's going to be a foul on Sarr. What are the changes you make? Do you consider a point guard? Do you get Clarke the ball, let him run the offense?
I think everything will be on the table for that long 7-hour bus ride home for Coach Cal. And he's been through this thing before where they lose to Evansville or get blown out by 40 to Duke, and has found a way to to get things right. And that will be a long, a 7-hour bus ride that will feel like 14 hours for all 3 of these buses headed back to Lexington, with a lot more questions than they have answers.
22nd Annual ACC Big Ten Challenge on ESPN and the ESPN app. A top 15 doubleheader Tuesday night. You get to see Luka Garza in Iowa. He's averaging 27.3 points per game in the first half of games. Carver Hawkeye Arena, number 3 Iowa against Carolina, and then it's 5th ranked Illinois and 6th ranked Duke at Cameron Indoor. A couple of great Sonic blockbusters as the college basketball season, as odd as it is, with games being canceled and no one in the stands, underway.
Well, salute to Georgia Tech, Ravi, in the ball game, because they only turned that thing over 6 times against a Kentucky defense coming in that looked like a top 10 defense. They have made shot. The basket for Georgia Tech has gotten bigger and bigger, especially in the second half. And this is a Georgia Tech team. Remember now, they came back with 4 starters from last year's team. They were picked 9th in the ACC preseason poll. If they continue to progress and play like they did today, connected, moving the ball. You mentioned DeVoe not being an offensive factor. They could work their way in the top half of what is once again a loaded ACC.
5 guys in double figures, including Parham, who's got 17 and has exploded in the second half. You heard Mark Teixeira joining us earlier, the Georgia Tech alum, talk about, well, we have to get old together. And, you know, you have Wright, a senior, DeVoe, junior, Alvarado, Parham, Usher, all seniors. They've succeeded in growing old together. And they dominated today in a big, big way.
Ravi, old wins national championships, old wins conference championships. We've seen over the last few years, and Georgia Tech's experience impressive today.
So he had been 17-0 against his former assistants. Josh Pastner is the guy that breaks that goose egg. The welder look on Pastner today, and this was a blue-collar effort for Georgia Tech, led by Moses Wright and his 21 points on 9 of 14 field goal shooting. JD.
Ravi, it's good to be with you again. Just like Peaches and Herb said in 1978, reunited, and it feels so good.
Are you going to sing us to the end here or no?
No, just once per broadcast.
Once per broadcast. Enjoy your week. We're looking forward to seeing that challenge this week. Our final score, and it was ugly, 79-62. It's time for SportsCenter.